I'm Matthew, and Alan, and Mark.
All right. Today we're going to talk to you about this adventure we've had over the past year together. And it started way back in September before senior project even started.
So there is Kruger and I sitting in Mr. Roberts' classroom, actually in 4th grade. We're working in a project together, and I was basically just telling him all my frustration in robotics. In robotics, we have talked about an off-season project, community project to gear up from September to December for us to learn some basic skills and to get ready for the actual season that started in January. And the idea that I brought up was, well, let's make a go-kart or dune buggy type thing. And right then it got shut down. They said it was it was too big. We don't deal with steel. We don't deal with things like that. It's a whole different monster, and it just didn't go with what we wanted to do and learn for the robotic season. And so I was there with Kruger, and we were talking about, we realized that there was clubs started at our school, and that it wouldn't be hard to find, a teacher to help us and a group of people to help us, and start a club at Manor New Tech.
So we gathered a bunch of people. Right off the bat, there were about 10, 11 people that said, yeah, that'd be fun. That sounds like a great club. We should start that. And so we needed a sponsor. We needed a sponsor, and then we needed a proposal to present to Zipkiss to get the idea approved. And we went to a sponsor, and they weren't as optimistic as we thought they would. We went and said, hey, let's start this project. It was our chemistry teacher, Mr. Ray, and he said, well, there may be some issues behind that. Why can't you guys just do it as a personal project outside of school? And we said, well, if it's not in school, then we really wouldn't get the idea of it being a school function. It'd be more of a personal growth thing, and plus sponsorships wouldn't be as easy to come by. So he shut us down. Said insurance might be an issue. Doing this at school, if we were to drive it and wreck it, then there'd be a big issue in that. So he said, you guys probably need to find somewhere else to go with this.
So this was about 3 weeks into the school year. It was really early. I'm just meeting teachers. But there's one teacher who was crazy enough to help us and loved motorcycles, and that was Mr. B. So that's the first person we went to after we got reunited with Mr. Ray. And from that moment, he seemed so excited, and we just took off with this, and this was the second.
So we were 10 guys and 1 girl, and we had big dreams, big ambitions. We're going to build this dune buggy from the ground up. And so we knew what we needed, of course, was money to build this dune buggy. So Martin and I went around the city of Austin and looked for sponsors that were interested, that we thought would be interested in donating to our cause and just helping us out in the money category. And we went through over 40 businesses. And there was a lot of rejection, just like Michael and Paul's experience. And but we did land a couple sponsors. There's 6 here that were the major ones. Woods Fun Center gave us $800 off-road tires just for free, just here, take them. And Metals for You gave us the metal order half off, which saved a bunch of money. And Mercedes-Benz of Austin gave us $250 just to check. Just say do what you please with it. Hannah Chevrolet gave us $350, same thing, Mercedes. And Seegers Brand gave us a $50 gift card, which was for the smaller stuff. And Double Trouble Farm, which is Mr. Brown's farm, that we wouldn't have been able to build our dune buggy if we didn't have that location to build it, and also his mentorship from his valuable knowledge.
So after about a week of being approved of this project, we decided it was a half day on a Thursday. We're going to go out with 6 people, and it's going to go and ask for money. And the first stop we made was Woods Fun Center. We walk in there, 20 minutes later, we come out with 4 brand new off-road tires, $800 worth. And we're like, all right, cool. Hannah Chevrolet was across the street, let's go to them next. 10 minutes later, we come out with $350 check, and we're like, all right, next year we're going to do the same. We're going to do this for the rest of the year. We're going to be rich. We're going to have $50,000. We're going to be able to build 2 dune buggies. We were thinking about we can raise 3 dune buggies. Our head was really big. But we noticed that was the only day that we the first time we went in there, we got money out of it. It took us months and a lot of calling corporate offices and a lot of visiting, hundreds of miles on that car. And we were able to get the other 4 sponsors over the next 4 months. But that first day was a really, it started us up, and we kept that group of people very excited. So here you can see the 3, these are models. dune buggies that we found out on the internet. And so researching was a huge part at the beginning of the project. Without researching, we didn't really know, we kind of had an idea, had 4 wheels, it was pretty big, it was made out of metal, but we didn't know how, what all went into it. This is the first time that most of us had even thought about building something, other than a small robot. And so we narrowed it down to these 3 designs, and you can see the big, 2-seater, smaller 2-seaters, and we eventually went with the yellow design, as you can see on your far right. And that was just because it was a design that looked a little simple. It wasn't as big as a huge full-size dune buggy, but it wasn't as small as a small go-kart. And that was the only design that we could find a file on the internet, and we can download it and actually look at all the designs and all the images.
And so we went on Craigslist too. We thought, well, you know what? We found these great designs, but what if we could find a pre-made frame? That would speed things along. We don't know how to weld really at all. And so if we were to take a bunch of metal and just weld it all together and put wheels on it and an engine, it'd probably fall apart. So if we could find a frame, that would have sped the process along and make it a lot more safe. And Craigslist, however, at the time we were looking, offered no ads whatsoever. So we did find inspiration in finding $8,000 sand rails and large go-karts like that one at the end, but they were way out of our price range still. So, and plus, we didn't want to go ahead and just buy a dune buggy or a go-kart or a sand rail and say, all right, we did it. We wanted to make it ourselves. So, not finding any frames and realizing that this kind of stuff was out of our price range, we went ahead and took our design.
Here you can see 4 working drawings of the yellow design I showed you earlier. And this is all done in Adventure. So Autodesk Adventure is a program that Manor New Tech has been using for as long as I've been here. We start off in IED our freshman year, and we learn the basics. Our sophomore year we go into a little bit more. We actually start making projects. We design it and actually make things from the designs we model on the computer. And so I've been doing that my freshman, sophomore year. I joined robotics in the past 3 years. I use this in a more advanced, I actually created drawings just like these with dimensions of the robot and everything. So it's something that I was able to work with. And when we found this file, we downloaded it, but it had no dimensions on it. We didn't know how much pipe we needed or anything. And so using the program Adventure at our school, I had it on my laptop, the student version as well. Kruger and I went and we spent hours trying to figure out the lengths of all the pieces, adding them up, figuring out how much money all the metal was going to cost. Since we didn't find any of the frames that we could have just bought off Craigslist, we needed to do all this dimensioning and all these drawings. And we finally figured it out. And it was about 86 feet of tubing, but we knew we weren't going to be perfect and we were going to mess up most of it. So we bought 150 feet, which is almost double, just to make sure. And here you can see just some trigonometry that we had to do in order to find the arc lengths of all the bands. So the bands we couldn't, we weren't able to find those dimensions from the Adventure. So from the help of Dr. T, Mr. Merced, Ms. Davis, Mr. Kendrick, they all helped us a little bit there and there about different ideas and different triangles. Most of these we should have known already, but we did go back and here you can see that was the base, and we spent nights here at MNTHS with the help of our teachers and mentors to figure out the method.
All right, and just like Martin had said, using the math that we had and the pipe that we had bought, we used this crazy looking thing over here, which is a pipe bender, to bend the angles that we had calculated and get the correct measurements that we needed in order to build our chassis and frame. At that point, we were still working inside of the mothership, which is where robotics is most of their work. So we went ahead and cut the pieces that we had measured and calculated angles for, and then moved to Double Trouble Farms, where we then continued to weld and start actually building the chassis and constructing the dune buggy.
And we used this drill bit. You can see right here. We bought it at Sears with the gift card we had, and we looked at it and it said, oh, it's for wood, metal, plastic, and a whole bunch of other stuff. But I looked at it and said, no, this is a wood drill. But we bought it anyway, and it worked for about 3 pieces, and then it broke. And then we bought another one, and that one we used a lot of oil to lubricate the bit as we drilled. And it lasted a little bit longer, and then we bought a third one, and that's a picture of the third one. It's still in operation, it hasn't broken yet, but I'm sure it will.
So this is a little video, and it just showcases kind of the first steps we were doing in the build phase, and it shows us like grinding and spark spline and welding, and also some aesthetic stuff like spray painting the parts to make it look nice and pretty. Kind of low, but action shot. Not the best work ever, but it's on a piece. Yep, and that went on for weeks at a time. That thing going off my nightmares, I swear.
Alright, and like I said before, this picture is still at the mothership, and this is the pieces that we had cut and laid out and measured and bent using all that fancy math. And over next to Matthew is the welded chassis and frame that we measured and cut.
And this middle picture is it represents a big thing in our project. It represents winter, and that came on strong this year, and it kind of delayed our build process because there was a lot less time in the day to work on it, especially when it was 30 degrees outside, and it kind of took some of the motivation out of a lot of our people, and that's when our group started to shrink down, and robotics had started up very recently, so a lot of our group members then weren't able to work during the week, and so it was sometimes just Alan and me for days on end.
Here's a couple more shots of Matthew Kruger grinding away. Yeah, so we were grinding to the end of the project, or towards the end rather, and we were running out of money. So we thought, what does everyone like in the morning? Everyone's hungry. Breakfast tacos. So Trey Carter and Matthew Kruger and Alan Brown, they went in the mornings. They made like 30 or 40 or 50 breakfast tacos, and we sold them for $2 a piece. And we always sold out. And we ended up making $350, which was a nice chunk of change that we needed for some essential parts of the project.
With that money, we went out and went looking for some parts. The biggest piece of equipment we would need in this project is an engine. And so we had many ideas. We had small little Honda engines, 300 or 3 horsepower, and then we had like motorcycle engines we were looking at to make the thing go 100 miles an hour. Initially we thought, wow, this is going to be great, but then we needed something that wouldn't cost a lot and would be suitable for this size frame. And we thought, well, a 4-wheeler would be great because we can take the suspension off of it, and that's really probably worth more than the engine. And so we went on Craigslist and started searching for 4-wheelers. And there were some in the Austin area, and most of them were little kitty 2, 3, 4, 5-year-old 100cc 4-wheelers, and that wouldn't work with our big frame. So I found in Houston a not running 4-wheeler for $450, and so I called up the dude and was like, hey, I know this 4-wheeler doesn't run, and we're in Austin, so could you knock it down to $350 and we'll be down there tomorrow? And he was like, yeah, sure. So Alan and I went on a road trip, and we went and picked up this four-wheeler.
Just like Matthew said, we used that thing exactly how we planned to use it. We took the front suspension off, put it on the dune buggy, took the rear end off, put it on the dune buggy, and for a lot of the time, it's that just like that. On cinder block, the engine, electronics.
And what we did then was we split up into two, where Alan would work on the frame and the suspension, and then I would work on the engine and wiring it up and trying to get it to run. And one day, wouldn't you know, with the help of my dad and Alan's dad, we got it to run on ether for about 30 seconds. And that was good enough for us. It turned over. So then we took that, what was left of the frame at that point, stuck it on the back, and then lined up the rear axle and said, all right, well, this is where we're going to put it. So we welded it there, and then came back a couple days later, and it had shattered off of its welds, and so we repositioned it in a different way, and then welded it there, and reinforced it, and that's how it sits right now.
So this is the current stage of our dune buggy. Not completely finished, but it definitely looks like something that could drive without killing someone. Obviously we have like the suspension on and the engine on. We have a nifty little blue seat, Manor New Tech, and gold rims because we're ballers. So yeah, it's coming along nicely. We plan on finishing it in like the next month and a half or so.
Okay, and so this has been a long project for us. It's taken years or it's taken months about. And at the beginning of this project, we were so excited for all of this, and we were so eager, and it was 11 people strong, and now we're at the base 4 and 5 people, and really even though we're not quite finished yet, I feel like this project has been a huge success for us.
This project was a learning experience for me because I came into this project agreeing to like kind of be on the sponsorship side and dealing with money and like the business side. That's what I want to do with my life. But as I started getting into it and started building the dune buggy, I started being really interested in the mechanical side of things. And it really taught me that you can explore your opportunities, and you never know what you'll really start liking. And it's just kind of a growing experience, and I've matured as a person. Not knowing that something would be this hard, and there's so much responsibility. And so I think I've grown in that sense that I've just grown up.
Honestly, was half joking about this idea at the beginning. Did not know this was actually going to happen. But I've been dealing with a lot of small things, just same sheet metal, one kind of metal, and small electronics, same thing every year. And I wanted to pursue a kind of engineering degree. And this is something that I thought that would be great. So like just learn something. I've never touched a granite before, but I did this time. I've never done a lot of things before that I can't do at school, or it's an outside, more higher level experience. And I learned a lot of the mechanical things, but I also teamed up with Wilson and a lot of the business things, and I learned how to talk to people, and it's been a really great experience.
Now, unlike the rest of my group members, I've kind of been around these tools and building things my whole life. The thing I really learned though was that it just takes a lot more time than you realize. It takes a lot more work than you really realize. And I never really used to plan things. I would just be like, let's just build this. And, this time, I learned you really have to sit there, you have to plan and think things out. And yeah.
Okay, and yep.
So there's one person that I would like to thank personally, and that's Mr. V. Mr. V was the person that actually came and joined our group and helped us out throughout the past 7 months. We started in September. He didn't even know us. We've been here in this class for 2 weeks, and at that point we're still quiet. But we've grown together, and it's the end of the year, and we'd like to invite him over to present him with the shirt that we designed.
And I'd also like to thank another very special mentor and member of our team. I'd like to thank my dad, and I'd like to present this shirt.
Thanks so much, man.
And also another special thanks to Principal Zipkis, all our teachers, and of course all our sponsors. We couldn't have done it without y'all, and thank you.
Trey Carter is probably one of the most helpful members we've had in this project. He was the only other person besides Alan and I that wanted to wake up at 6:30.
Those tacos were delicious.
And then we have other group members. Kenneth Brown made it to many of the build sessions. Same thing with Carlos Juarez. And Stella Carlin was there a few times. Paco was there a lot too. And overall, they put in some work to this.